Hey Peter, what are you dancing today?
Um, it's funny where you interrupt me because I mean because I was just reenacting a solo I did, my first solo I did at Rambert School of Ballet and Contemporary Dance. Uh, yeah, when I started, we all had to make solos, and there was this bit where I was on a typewriter. And I remember doing this movement. Uh, and but because before that, I was dancing to your amazing CV.
My CV? How do you know my CV?
Because we were just talking about it.
Ah,
So
right, okay.
before we started recording,
Okay.
I was well, you were telling me a lovely story about when you worked with Savile Leroy, and before when you worked in another project with Joan Bell for, is it Gala, the performance is called? Yeah.
Yeah, a proto version. A proto version.
Mm. What are you dancing with, Yari?
So I'm dancing about I think I'm dancing the relation between memory and space.
Mm.
So how maybe my memory or how movement or the experience of tracing and doing movement in space and how that um, come back how those movements could come back or overlay or change.
Mm.
Almost if the memory is not only the body, but
Mhm.
also the space.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of what the workshop this week was about, right? Like memory and how we relate to it, and what are the scores? But I found it's actually there's two tasks. I think it's just the structure, just the necessity of the audio format, where I can't see who I'm speaking to. So then I created or I create uh, like scores which are sort of made to be done by anyone, and I'm asking like for you to remember multiple scores. Whereas I think ideally I would tell you multiple things to do, and then you would do those multiple scores, and that would allow you to experience not thinking. But this was more complicated, where I'm inviting you to then remember multiple scores, and yeah, it's a tricky one. It's two scores. I mean, because remembering and being with the archive, I mean, that's something in itself that's quite cool.
Yeah. I wonder if you bring up the memory because the overlapping of several score is usually disorienting a
Yeah.
lot. It's strange because by putting more direction, you suddenly might make space for the memory to come out.
Mm,
No,
mm,
where because it's also what you say in the workshop. You disorient, you just don't
yeah.
you yeah, the people you get like lost, and then suddenly some automatic movement come out somehow, automatic dance or something come out, and then it's also what is coming out. That in theory is not a direction where you should go, because in theory you have so many directions, two, three, two,
Mm,
three scores to go.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
somehow this is coming. So there is something about uh, being subjected by,
Yeah,
and then what do you want to do,
yeah.
or what happened, how the body react from that hyper. maybe
Yeah.
domination from 2, 3 scores, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a sense of yeah, losing control or getting out of the way of the body. I actually felt it more because I recognize this multiple layer thing. Like it for me it was like the major place that choreographers when I was training were working. And then I met Simon Vincenzi and I felt like I experienced exactly this, but in a very different way, where he would produce tasks which would occupy you so intensely, sorry, that you wouldn't be able to stop yourself from moving in a certain way. Like it would surprise you. There would be this sort of like he would put you into conditions. So like it's very there's a very simple one where you stand and you look at someone else's body who's also standing and you're trying to see their whole body, and then if you see any movement you sort of you copy the movement in your own body, the energy of it, so it doesn't have to be the shape of the movement. And then but you're both doing that and you're both trying not to move. Oh, but only do what the other person is doing. So like these movements, these energy, the energy of the different parts of the body sort of get built up through mistakes. So like where someone shifts just by accident and then that shift gets amplified and there's like this feedback loop that goes on. And we would do these exercises in pairs, but then also in like a large group where we would all stand and look at each other. And he would also like make it a little bit more um, hard by having us on demi points with the legs. So like there'd be lots of movement, and we would just find ourselves
Right.
running and moving in these sort of really drastic ways, which were just responding to this impossible or this reactionary score of being the same. And because and at some point you can stop thinking about what you're doing and you just let the body just react to what it is. um yeah, but what do you, how what is this aspect of dancing, this transition between and from and over and with thinking, like the to do these dances of like a layered score or like this Simon Vincenzi score that I just described, you have to like you have to think about it. You have to, it has to be like spoken maybe if it's between people. And then we dance. So we do all this thinking in order to let go in a way, or to like you say, like find these like spontaneous happenstantial things which sometimes break completely the logic, but they allow something to emerge which is what we sort of excited by or interested by when we're dancing. Is that fair of your description as well?
So yeah, yes, it's definitely fair. But maybe also this is not. Um, I also do think that many scores I somehow translate them into something else. So the language is also not all the time very accessible.
Yeah.
So sometimes a score I've the interpretation of the score basically. This is what I mean. That
Mm.
I create another object, invisible object, that is not the score, but it is an experience, a sensation, it's a feeling that
Right,
can
right.
simplify the score. So I can have multiple layers with me without really be busy with the, almost if I already digested score, and so I can access tiny more easily if there's so many layers of scores.
Do you feel you have to think or like negotiate with yourself around the development of that score that becomes your interpretation of the score?
I needed to give my body, if it's too complex, I need to give an entry point that will be always the entry point of that score in that moment. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes become for very long also time, like almost where this will help me to actually open up, of course, but and
Mm.
maybe open up to something totally different. But
And
but
sorry, and
I need. It
you need
depends how
something.
difficult is the score. It
And
depends how difficult is the score.
yeah, and do
If
you?
the language, I was, for example, working on the score, dance as if you never see a dance before.
Yeah.
And this already, it's simple, but it's also complex. And actually, I had to digest the
Hmm.
score and to work mostly on things that are not steps, that are not dance, that is not dance
Right.
recognizable, maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
almost if I am trying, so I'm already doing another score in itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I do. And like for you, how is that relationship, say with a choreographer, that thing of like mm, discussing and articulate, like conversing around what it is. So, they set it up. Maybe you have a few questions, and then you go and you dance, and then you come back and you ask more questions, or they ask questions of you, or they tell you, no, no, it wasn't quite like that. You need to be doing this and this and this. Like, how important is that compared to, say, the choreographer that um, says nothing? You know, they say it needs to be like this, go do it. And there's a sort of like um just move, and where maybe you don't fully know, but then you trust in perhaps them telling you if you're doing something wrong. Like what's your relationship in that, like, kind of dialoguing around the dance and thinking around the dance?
Mm. Well, the choreographer that doesn't tell much. I basically get information from other stuff, from the context, from the choreographer what appreciate and what not.
Mm,
And so a lot of it means it might become a very, I mean, it could become very invisible, the value. And because they are invisible and because everyone to interpret a bit differently, then dance happen.
yeah,
The finding that we are all in the search, and this search become the dance,
yeah.
and can be also specific search. I could also be, it doesn't mean that because they don't say anything,
Mm,
but they don't give maybe a real score, they just give some images. So there is a score, there is
yeah,
images, and then they point out what they saw and what they enjoyed.
yeah.
And this is also the relation where if values are invisible, and because the dancer unfortunately want to always get right, always be
Mm,
uh, um, okay in what they do and appreciate it, then there is all one of the values might also go together with pleasing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, because it's exactly, it was, I was going to ask, in fact, like, what is that feeling, and or how do you work with that feeling of um when you feel the dance, I think you said, um when you feel like you know the dance, um how do you deal
No,
with,
it's unknown. The dance is always unknown because if it's
sorry,
not very clear, the
yeah,
search become the dance.
right, okay, yeah,
So there is a lot of, obviously, because also those things is also that you affect the choreographer
yeah,
desires. So the choreographer give you desires, you affect their
yeah,
desires, and it's a circle. So
Yeah.
there is never a dance that is sure, that is sure that this is what it is, and it's okay because I mean the dance is also a movement and so on.
Mm,
Um, Plus these desires of pleasing or make sure that you're doing a good job,
mm,
uh, and depends how much the choreographer is. You know, some choreographers are also. Oh, I dance for very often with old choreographers.
mm,
It means they are in a time where they act in a time where it's also there's a discrepancy with what they do show
yeah.
in terms of style or maybe in terms of ethics. You know, they're coming from somewhere else, and
Mm,
this is makes even more interesting because those values are so negotiable in that sense.
mm, mm.
I'm thinking a stupid things. Like for me, there's no logic that a certain aesthetic is not nice as another one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I am confronted with that,
yeah,
obviously. I'm confronted with dancing something that is not my taste anymore, and I
yeah.
think it's not contemporary taste, but I'm aware that this is a very stupid opinion I have. You know what I
But
mean?
yeah, yeah,
That it's the opinion of nice or not, that it is not contemporary enough as a aesthetic. Is just, I mean, in my, in my ethics, is
mm,
it's stupid.
yeah. And I mean, and especially maybe with sort of older conceptions of choreography, that idea of getting it right. Like last episode, we spoke a bit about the thing of the dancer giving over completely to the choreographer, and in those sort of hierarchies, then it really is about the dancer has to completely bend to the will of or the vision of the choreographer and sort of sacrifice themselves, like get their leg in that position and articulate it in the right speed and in the right dynamic and the right tonality and performativity and everything. So how do you negotiate like the that movement between getting it right and feeling appreciated? Like where do they lie? Because obviously in rehearsing, often the focus is going to be on getting it right. Where does the sense of appreciation come for you when you're dancing, and how do you relate to that?
Well, in the very first step, I should not presume too much.
Mm,
Even if the choreographer tell me, I don't believe that. Tell me,
okay.
yeah, you feel free, or yeah, I think you just try, and then I see. Sometimes I don't believe what I mean that um,
Yeah.
I have to do something that I feel honest.
Hmm.
And of course they're discrepant, you know, they see something and they like it, doesn't mean I feel honest with that.
Mm,
Um, so I have to know a lot for interpret
mm,
their score. I want to know what this is the conversation that for me is helpful.
yeah.
You know, which kind of aesthetics and parameters I stare for craft the dance.
Mm.
Huh?
So
And
if I understand correctly, um, you don't always believe them, even if
in the
they
very
are
beginning, I
in
don't
the very
believe them.
beginning. Okay, but even if they are sort of being appreciative, if they're saying, "Oh, I loved that," you sort of
Yeah,
try not to um,
exactly.
let it influence
Me.
you, and you try to look
Well,
for something
yeah,
more authentically connected to your
exactly.
own values.
Yeah, but also I like that because I know the beginning of a dance, it's unknown to them and to me.
Hmm.
Although I know they have a direction. So what I am trying to understand is the direction, not where it will go, the dance they are building.
Yeah.
Still from them, from what they say and so on, but it's not exactly a moment now.
Hmm.
This is what I mean, and that's why I also don't believe that. And I also don't believe, man, because I know that I could just enjoy that I like this.
Yeah.
And if I fall into enjoying that they enjoy me, I will stay in this enjoyment, in
Yeah.
this like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a good, or I'm not good. The dance is not done. There is, you know what I mean? So I'm also don't believe them because that loop of being satisfied. I'm not saying it's not about insatisfaction. It's
No.
actually not taking seriously on me. I'm
Mm.
not doing the right things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It's a bit complex, but I have to be careful to not
Want what they want.
wanting them to please, to
Oh
be
yeah.
pleased. Is this the
And
things basically? Exactly. I don't to, basically, sorry, what to make sure I don't have to fall into me. So me trying to find the things that I will feel satisfied as a Yari person.
mm.
Oh, I'm a good dancer. I don't need, this is what I mean. I don't need to fall into, am I a good dancer or not?
And how because then often like one of the biggest conditions in dancing, especially professionally, is the sort of impatience, not always of the choreographer, like the impatience for you to or get it, or to find it, or to be able to do the dance, but also the impatience of the industry. Like we get given very short times to get to a place where it's quote unquote ready for the stage. How do you deal with that, like the timing of the things, like of the of the process?
The time of the process, I really feel I'm trying to listen to the choreographer.
Mm,
They are the only one knowing the timing.
mm,
They want to be dominated by. They are the only one really, like in that sense, because some choreographer want to change until the end. Some they want to make sure that certain choreography, more hard choreography, are done early in the process, and then the rest is about. There is so like a process is a certain aesthetic. So
mhm,
I really, in that sense, I trust that they know what is the rhythm in that sense
mm,
of
mm.
the journey. When for them the decision is important.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Okay.
sometimes I tend to. So I tend to fix as early as possible. This is what I think maybe it looks like. But for me, fixing is just a way to make a crystallization for something.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
not that this fix is forever.
No.
But if I want to build on something, I have to fix something now.
Yeah.
What do I
Yeah.
fix for tomorrow when we come back?
Yeah.
Basically. That's it. It doesn't matter. If tomorrow we come back in this and we break through something else
Yeah.
and we throw everything in the garbage.
And I like, because you kind of bringing up what I wanted to ask was, how do you deal with when or if the choreographer changes their mind, or you get the sense that they've changed their mind, like you thought you like say you start to feel like you're appreciating and you have like a formulation for yourself, or like how do you deal with when the choreographer then wants to change at the last minute, or um how do you let go of things that you value or learn come to value in the dance?
Yeah, it's
Like how is that
so
relationship maybe for you?
certain times what I do, certain things I do to them it doesn't matter as me.
Mm,
So maybe for them it doesn't matter something that for me is very important. But doesn't matter it means that can stay. Okay?
mm,
Sometimes though certain things that I do that for me matter a lot, for them is actually a problem.
mhm,
So then I have to take it out. You know what I mean in that sense.
mm,
So I also, but in the things that for them doesn't matter, there is a lot of agency because I am hypothetically writing something in their choreography that could be a point, an accessible point for the audience or for somebody else.
Mm.
It's a secondary access point maybe because for them, but with the time, with the process and with the future, for example, also, when the choreographer let their piece, when it's not anymore their piece, in the
Mm.
sense, in the moment it's done, you know,
Yeah.
then, those things can count, I would say. But,
Mm.
sometimes it depends how the choreographer how much choreographer they give me responsibility, because this is also very clear, because it's always different, the relationship I have with the choreographer. So certain choreographers since the beginning give you responsibility or make you feel you're a co-maker of the
Mm-hmm.
piece,
Mm-hmm.
and then they revoke that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the revoking is always hard,
Yeah. Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, the revoking. But if they never really give me certain kind
Yeah.
of things, then it doesn't, maybe it doesn't matter. If
Yeah.
they say, "Oh no, yeah, no, this goes in the garbage," or "This is not, I don't want you to do this." It
Mm-hmm.
depends on which kind of relationship they establish with us. So
Mm.
some choreographers are not good in being um, coherent, and they might open and give, and maybe it's also okay. I don't know, because maybe,
But
yeah,
does
I'm
that?
very opinionated dancer.
Yeah. Okay. So then it's
So
okay for
maybe
you
it's me
because of
taking,
that.
the space also. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And you're
also
okay
it's,
with that.
it depends. Maybe they are if they are 75, you
Yeah.
know, it's different if I'm working with a young choreographer.
Yeah.
Because I'm 42, so I have to be careful.
Mm.
With a young choreographer, I have to make careful that I let them do what they need to do. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
have also a lot of experience, so it's a bit tricky. That power, I have to make sure. It's
Yeah.
not that it's obvious that because I'm a dancer, I have less power. I'm a
No. No. No.
man, and so on. There is so many layers, and so it's all depend of that.
And like, would you say you're a quick learner of choreography, like in the traditional sense of steps? And do you think that's why it's such a focus in training to become a quick learner of steps? Because actually, that relationship that you're describing between the choreographer and dancer does require an ability to pick up steps or to learn the material really quickly in order to be able to change and relearn and get rid of things quickly, so to establish new dance or new steps.
It's a good
Like
point.
like first question is easy. Are you a good learner of steps, or like is that are you quite skillful?
I it depends in relation to whom and to what, but I think
Mm,
I mean, I'm definitely a good learner, but then also means also a lot of interpretation.
mm, mm,
I don't have maybe the normative um, um, way of dancing. There is something about that. So maybe I'm always a bit off, but I'm fast.
mm,
And so this always a bit off could be a potential for some choreographer that they really just love this because they want to different
mm,
people. I don't know, whatever. And then for others, they want all together the same, and then I might have a problem.
mm.
But if I see someone beside me, then it's copying. It's actually good skill I have.
Okay, yeah,
So it's also a bit different in that sense.
yeah. So if you were in a chorus, for example,
Exactly. I could be very good
you could still cope because
be, because
you're
I'm good in
quite good at
copying.
copying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I mean copy, I mean being synchronized.
Yeah.
So I'm good in relating my body to another body in that it looks or in both in rhythm and
Seems, yeah.
seems the same.
Mm. Yeah, fascinating. It's nice just to break it all down for me. Um, this the relationship between like yeah, the conversation around the thinking around dancing, and how it's what role it plays in relationship to authority, um, and authorities.
I'm thinking about the description. It's not that if I have information, some lately now everybody trying to conceptualize what they do, and we are learned choreographer learned so well to give a quote, give give an entry point that makes sense.
Mm,
And some of them get lost because they are convinced this is what they want to do, and then in the doing it's totally something else. And
mm,
you know, uh, so I'm aware that I don't need to know everything, that we don't need to communicate all the time in terms of
mm,
language, because they will enjoy what I do, they will take, and so on. We will have a discussion that is beyond language, but through aesthetics of like abilities
mm.
or you know
Maybe like, because this has been a nice interview almost.
sorry.
No, I love it.
It's
It's really important for me. Like it's the reason I like these conversations with you is because you have your unique perspective. And so like I maybe I can ask you, because I think you've said to me before that um you are a dancer and you want to be a dancer. And maybe you could, in light of what we've been talking about, just open up a little bit, like, what do you mean then when you prefer to be a dancer rather than a choreographer? Like, what is the materiality of that compared to when you have choreographed? Like, we speak about the agency of the the dancer, sorry, the agency of the dancer. So yeah, like in that relationship, where for you is the value?
I don't know if I understood what the question, but I'm thinking about that to be if I would do choreography for people, there is all another apparatus of money, resources, and ethics that I feel I'm unable to actually really, also ethics, to be really to be happy about.
Mm, mm,
Also, in terms of movement, it would be hard for me. When I do movement, sometimes movement to make become anything to me. It's just like it doesn't make sense.
mm,
So as a dancer, it makes sense because I'm going for it, because I'm crafting.
mm,
But to, and then I would, to become a old style crafting movement to somebody else, it means I should have also a lot of pedagogical skills that I don't have.
mm,
Um, and then doing a solo with myself, it's also problematic because then I have two roles, the choreographer and the dancer, and they have conflict every 2 seconds. So basically, I just prefer to
mm.
be a dancer.
Yeah, yeah,
And be a dancer, I can still choreograph because what is what I do. I choreograph my interpretation and so on.
yeah. I think, I mean, for me, if I, sorry, it's been all about you. I think I also ask these questions because for me, um, I'm still in that, I'm still with that question I've always had of a little bit what you're describing. I think of, I would stand in the middle of the empty dance studio and I would think, I don't know what movement should happen now. Like, it could be anything. And I think through thinking about dance and discussing dance, I'm more and more find ways to avoid that or to feel comfortable with that. and to dance, because ultimately that's what I want to do. But for me, I need the dialogue. I need the long time and conversation to to find the value of something. And I find doing it with a choreographer who has an agenda, um, just a simple agenda, like we need to make a performance by the end of the year. For me, that's sometimes too quick, and it's too ulterior to my own agendas, and I end up finding myself beating myself up, like then it's probably because I'm not good enough. And like you say, perhaps, so this was really useful to hear, like paying too much, um, putting too much value in the voice of the choreographer. And it hurts even more because I think and I question these things. Then I get invited into projects where the assumption is that we have the same values, and then of course they have an agenda that is different to mine. I think I would survive better as a dancer if I dance for people who don't share my values, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I think this it's very hard, this relationship where it's never clear. There's no contract in the beginning, and it's
mm,
okay that sometimes it's not, but sometimes it's not okay,
mm,
or very often it's not okay. So with these things that oh, they all want to be like you, so all they somehow want to hear what the dancer want and so on, but it's actually not real in the sense that after they revocate very fast, or they don't need after 2 seconds, maybe they don't hear they need, but then they don't need. So maybe this is a very hard,
mm,
and this is maybe what would be nice, that we all learn new systems, new way of dealing with ethics. And I mean, we spoke in the last episode,
mm,
intimate
mm,
coordinator. I'm like, whatever that can help,
mhm.
and also, for example, practices that as a dancer we bring into the piece. I mean, now basically, if you are a choreographer, many choreographers want to invite other choreographer and dancing for them.
Yeah,
It's not anymore choreographer want interpreters. No, choreographers want choreographers.
yeah,
Why?
yeah,
Because you already bring your own, suddenly your own practice can be used and so on. So,
yeah, yeah. But I think the legacy of the dancer choreographer dynamic, it still lives on. I mean, I do collaborate, like it's not the case. But I rarely put myself in the position of choreographer in the sense of having dancers to interpret. I haven't done so much of that.
yeah, I understand.
I mean, my baby performance is as close as I dare get to that, or is as close as I get
Mm,
to that. And I always default to the value of the child as a way of sort of framing what to work with. But of course, I have my own values. I mean, and I'm also dancing in it. So there's a huge amount of value I'm placing for myself to dance. And I'm trying to share the same tools and things, but ultimately, they might not be the right ones um, for the people I'm dancing with. And I try to get away from the idea that um, I might have a hidden agenda, like there might be something the dancer could do wrong, and try to truly believe what I say I believe, that um whatever the dancers that I've chosen to work with, like Rachel Tess or um uh Lisa Schulman, whatever they do, I would already be perfect, sort of thing. It would be exactly what is needed. But it's
yeah, I
within a
understand.
frame that I've set. So
Right.
it's an unfair, it becomes a little bit unfair of me to sort of to step back a little bit, like you say, right? To sort of
Yeah,
like let go, say, oh, everything's possible, which isn't quite
yeah.
fair.
Well, I mean, everything is possible. It's no direction, unfortunately. But if you make already if you the frame is already enough strong,
Yeah,
you can say everything is possible.
yeah.
The problem is that after everything is possible, you say, yeah, but maybe this no. After 2 days of rehearsal, they do
Mm, mm,
something. So
mm,
I think I'm again,
mm.
it's all okay because unfortunately this is what it is. Our relationship, dancer choreographer, has been always so movable
Yeah.
until that we take we do steps or we improvise, there is always like there's so many movability,
Mm,
and the problem is yeah, how can we cluster moments where we go into a direction that maybe doesn't go too much up and down, that is also stays a beat, that
yeah.
more we are together, more we understand each other, and more we can react easily to our um, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is what happened. I mean, many dancer choreographers, when they stay together for 2 3 years, they kind of learn a lot from it. They just build a system between two people
Yeah.
communicating beyond language,
Yeah.
and then it's just and suddenly, there is a lot of reciprocity.
And I really respect those choreographers, or maybe even the producers, the people around them that allow it to happen, like practically, financially, that it can exist. It's astonishing. It's astonishing that we have a culture that values that and has provided spaces for it to exist. It sounds like I don't believe in it, but I do, like um I just know that it's really hard. It's hard to create spaces for dance, to put things out there artistically that won't be interesting for everyone. Like it's just the nature of an artistic project. It has ultimately has a type of subjective value that perhaps isn't right for a big enough audience, and that's a terrifying work to do by protecting those spaces that, yeah, can encourage a relationship like that to form and to be established. Hmm.
Yeah, it
I
sounds
wish I
like
could make a dance, yeah.
yeah, this is what it feels like. Wow, you should. I'm sure you will get one day the right context, or maybe they even
I
ask you
think
already.
I think this maybe is the right content
This
right
what?
now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. I'm your dancer. What do you want, babe?
Well, we've spoken about this a bit more off camera, off audio, off recording.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
like there is an element of I'm the choreographer, you're the dancer, like you're invited within my frame. How, like, maybe just as a meta opening, how do you experience the direction to to the score that I invite you into? Like, do you feel it's clear enough? Does it have enough clarity? Like, what in relationship to what we're talking about? Like, I'm curious. No right, no
Yeah, well,
wrong.
in relation to what I talk about is exactly this. We're just, you know, it's just we are learning and we are creating a system that is not anymore based on language or on clear roles.
Mm.
When I mean clear roles, I mean that they're clear, but they are tacit.
Yeah, yeah.
So whatever it's become visible, whatever it was more invisible, it was more invisible. And
Mm.
I don't know if, yeah, yeah. So for me, it's quite clear. And also, okay, if I want, I can go back into the language, the information, the things, because you also established since the beginning a lot of structure possible that it never happened actually, but
Mm. It's
but
true.
somehow they're like that. It's like in the scores, but this is what I am with you. Score and trajectory are there, to just give an impulse
mm, mm,
that is little longer, higher,
mm.
lower, turning, whatever, and then whatever it change, all this is totally fine.
Yeah. And I imagine like because it's nice, it's a nice link to what you were describing with like the choreographer and dancer that spend a long time together, because we are friends
Yeah,
ultimately, and we have developed that friendship through a long time. And this process is also, it leans into having a longer temporality than most. Even though, you know, we don't have performances, but we have each week, we have to record something, we have to present something and perform something in a way. And so there is an intensity still, where you could get something wrong or right. And we do have debriefs where we discuss like how did it go and stuff. And of course, within that, there can be language of like shifting the direction and stuff, or like, or at least the space for that. Um, but it makes me realize, we spoke about how the choreographer can change their mind and how that can be quite frustrating if the material they're changing is something that you came to appreciate yourself, or it came to really value, and you have to get rid of it. I guess it can work the other way around as well, where at some point the dancer stops valuing what the choreographer keeps valuing.
good
And
point.
I was thinking that that perhaps likely happens on a longer scale. Like there's something, you
Yeah,
can be more forgiving as a dancer to the values of the choreographer, because you say, oh, okay, it's this performance, and then you go into a new process, and there's always the chance to develop that. But eventually maybe there becomes a breaking point where you move away, and that's where
yeah,
the agency maybe differs quite a lot between the choreographer and the dancer. And the choreographer can act act upon their values instantaneously all the time, you know, within a performance, because they have that authority or the responsibility of the authorship of the work. They can step in right at the last minute, just before you go on stage. There's some choreographers try to do it on stage. They shout and say left leg or whatever. Like there's these
right.
stories, right? Their agency is instantaneously, whereas the agency of the dancer in terms of like opting out of something, opting out of a value, usually would happen on a longer scale, where they'd get to the end of a performance and they say, okay, not the next one, or I think this was
Right.
the last one,
Yeah,
or they have to do the very dramatic thing of leaving the performance mid performance, or mid process or something, which
yeah,
is
yeah. Or
extremely
sometimes it's
difficult.
also. I mean, it's also almost the people that I mean, in dance, I don't think it's something that happens really often. But just like, oh, you want a job, and you're like, I can get this job for this kind of money, or you can't give me this money. No, so always
Yeah,
sometimes it's
yeah,
also like
yeah,
as a dancer, I just get more. Oh, I don't want to stress
mm,
in between these two jobs, and this second jobs is not super important. So,
yeah, yeah,
you know, no, I don't feel like,
yeah,
sometimes the conditions also, because as we know,
yeah,
the condition do a bit of everything. So it's also okay if this project get in a moment where I don't have project, or where
mm,
then yeah, why not? Totally. But if this is it's more heavy to keep, then yeah,
mm.
no,
Oh, I really appreciate these conversations, Jerry. I worry that they're extremely obvious, but for
maybe
me,
there are.
oh
I don't
no,
know.
for me they feel very like, oh, this is really good to go through and break down and like think about. It's so I'm so
Yeah.
grateful. Thank you so much.
Ah, well, you didn't interview me. Sorry, you interviewed me. So I don't know. Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you so
Yari,
much for the
I'm gonna
interview.
dance your dance now.
Okay, my God, do it.